start to put tension on my string drawback, I was like, okay, I'm gonna smoke.
It's him. You can look at the horns when he's dead. I'm in the zone. Let the arrow go. Just perfect.
When they lose their front shoulders, that's how you know they're smoking.
Went about 5-10 more yards. He probably went 20 yards total. Kept them. We tried getting back up. I saw him pull up.
We rushed 4 meters rods that night. We got like 156 and something like that. And then the next day we came up to 163 even.
You're listening to the White Cat Outdoors podcast, bringing you to the table where we talk about the outdoors.
What's up, everybody? Episode 139. Tom tried to trick me by saying 140, but it's not. It's 139. And we were talking, that's why I was laughing a little bit. Are you guys ready for a new intro? You guys just leave it in the comments if you are. We've been kicking around the idea of a new intro, so let us know what you think if you want a new one. We don't have any ideas on who's going to do a new one, but...
Well, here's the thing. If you're a listener and you do music, if that's a thing...
Great idea.
We would love for you to contact us. That one, don't leave in the comments. Just DM us directly.
No comments.
That's what I guess a direct message is. So definitely get a hold of us if that's your thing. We're looking to spice things up in the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been almost 2 years now on this intro, I think.
How long have we been podcasting?
Almost 3 years. And we had
So it was intro. 1 year. So yeah, we're coming up on 2 years of one intro.
Yeah, so we gotta change it up.
Yeah. Something fresh.
Yeah.
Something clean.
Yeah, maybe not clean, but fresh for sure.
Definitely fresh. Febreze.
A little rough around the edges.
Yeah. Call us the Febreze brothers because it's so fresh in here.
Anyway, moving on from the intro talk, what are we talking about?
Well, we have just a tiny little bit of house cleaning.
Yeah.
We're going to sweep the floor real quick. So if you tuned into us last week, we talked about all kinds of new products that are hitting the market for 2022. One of the first ones we talked about was from Elevate Tree Stand Company and their new Elevate Ultra. And I know we talked there was a little bit of skepticism going on with it. New products, you never know. But now we do know. There was a review released right after we recorded.
It was like the day after we recorded.
By Michigan Great Outdoors or Polak Outdoors. And basically the guy is on YouTube. If you guys don't follow him, you definitely should if you're into gear reviews and hunting videos. He's a very well-respected individual in the gear review realm. He reviews all types of gear. He's totally unbiased and will show you the good, the bad, and the ugly from every product that he reviews. And recently he compared the Element Ultra to the DeQuisto Series 0.5 stand, which they're kind of in the same realm when it comes to size. And Jace is a bigger guy, about my size. He's a little bigger, but not much. He's 260, but he's under the weight rating.
Under.
Yeah, weight rating on that stand 300 pounds. Jace is 260. Obviously, the stand just came out. He did not get to hunt with it. He was just testing it, hanging it on the tree, cam locking, doing all that stuff. And he bent the platform.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, and he showed some high-quality video of the finish on the stand, and it's not good. It's pretty rough, and it's just was not even in the same category as the DeQuisto Series 0.5. So, for saving $80, and then by the time you buy backpack straps, you're, another $40. So now you're only $40 cheaper than DeQuisto Series, and it's not worth it. So, just be careful with what you guys are buying out there. Make sure it's safe.
Make sure you check reviews on stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing I do before I buy any gear. And to be honest, Michigan Great Outdoors is the first place I start on YouTube because the guy's reviewed so much gear, and he's always unbiased. Even if he loves Lone Wolf Custom Gear's products. I mean, how could you not? But he'll still point out what he's not a big fan of. And he's right about certain stuff. For a while their stands were super sharp, and he's not afraid to point that stuff out. They've since fixed that issue, but Jace is the kind of guy that'll tell you exactly what he's reviewing, and he's not going to leave out, bad things
because it's something that he likes.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a really well-respected guy, and, check his stuff out before you go and buy. Moving on from that, tonight, there's a lot of, maybe like deer hunting cliches or
hot topics,
different
debates,
controversies, debates, all of the above. And, as the season rolls in, we just wanted to kind of hit on a few of the big ones and kind of just do a roundtable discussion on our opinions on it and how we look at those things, if we believe in it, if we don't believe in it. Kind of just go from there. Just going to do a little roundtable discussion on a few topics. So I guess we're going to start with the first one here is October morning hunts. It's something a lot of people on different forums and hunting shows talk about how they don't hunt mornings in October. So I'm going to turn it back over to Frank to start, and he was going to give us his opinion on what he does for October mornings.
So I'm going to change up a little bit this year because I feel like I do have some stuff that I can attack in the morning. But in the past, I've never really been a big morning hunter. I have gone out here and there in mornings, but I feel like it has nothing to do with whether or not I think it's productive or not. It's more just where I'm hunting, the pieces that I am hunting, the locations in those pieces just don't bode well for going in the morning. I feel like I would be making more of a ruckus and blowing stuff up in the morning, whereas in the evening it's a better spot to get into. So
to give us an idea, what type of property are you saying that you don't like going in on mornings? Is this field edge property, or do you have to cross through a field?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So that's why
the main piece that I hunt is you can't go anywhere in the piece without walking through 30 acres of beans, and there's never really been any close bedding nearby. So I mean, it's more of an evening spot, just as far as getting in quietly and not disturbing things. But this year that has changed tremendously. Even though you still have to go through the fields, I'm going to be able to approach it a little bit differently now that it's been so heavily logged. I think it's going to definitely change some stuff, and I've been walking it a fair bit and finding different access points to attack it in the morning. So I'm going to do more morning hunting this year in October, and really all through the season, than I've ever really done, just because I feel more confident about the particular spot. I have done some morning hunts on other pieces where I felt more confident about getting in and out without disturbing stuff, and I can't really speak on being successful or not in October mornings just because I haven't done it enough. I'm more of an evening guy in October, for sure.
Gotcha. Tommy, what's your thoughts on October mornings?
I hunt any October morning that I can. Reason being, I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So really my only opportunities to hunt are Saturdays and Sundays. So I'm not going to give up half of my allotted hunting time because I don't think I should be hunting in the morning. And quite a few times I've hunted up at our camp, and I've hunted a field edge in the morning where you walk in and you totally blow that field out. Mm-hmm. You climb up in your stand, and within 15 minutes,
they're right
loaded
back
with deer. So I don't know. I don't think you want to be blowing them out every single day. If you're a retired hunter that has a retired worker that has every day to hunt, I don't know that you'd want to be blowing them out every single morning.
Yeah.
Going back there, they might get sick of that. But for the guy that hunts Saturdays, Sundays, and isn't hunting, the same stand every time, I don't think it really hurts you that much. Mm-hmm. If you're just doing it every once in a while. And I wouldn't take time off of work to hunt October mornings. I usually wait till November to take time off of work. But yeah, just because I have limited amount of time to hunt, I hunt any available time that I do have.
I think I share pretty much the same opinion with you there. Being a blue collar worker, I work Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. I only get, some evenings before the time change, and then, my weekends. And like Tom said, if that's all you get,
You got to capitalize on
why,
what you
why
have.
cut that in half just because some guy online said you can't hunt October mornings?
And that's the majority of people are blue collar workers that get out of work at 3, 4, 5 o'clock.
If I didn't have time to do anything except hunt, if that's all I was doing was hunting, maybe I wouldn't be hunting October mornings.
Who knows?
But since I don't have hardly any time, and
I will throw this in there, though. Over 50% of my archery bucks were killed in October mornings.
Yeah, you've had a lot of
Dad's
success.
Big 9 was an October morning.
Yeah, and his that might have been early November. But so for me personally, most of my archery bucks have been October mornings. So statistics are telling me that I probably should be in the timber October mornings. But like Frank said, I don't like walking through fields either in the morning. So I'm fortunate enough to have some properties that I can access directly into timber from the road and try and intercept. And that's usually what I'm trying to do on October mornings is I'm trying to intercept them coming off those fields back to bed.
Yeah.
I don't typically try and hunt right over where I think they're bedding. I try to get an intersecting trail so it's not too intrusive. If it doesn't pan out, I don't want to be stuck, right on top of where they're supposed to be bedding.
Yeah.
And it's worked for me. I've caught several bucks, and I believe coming off of the field edge first thing in the morning. I think all of those deer that I've killed in the October mornings were before 9 a.m. Most of them before 8. So
yeah, and I've never really understood the whole debate against it because in early October, deer are still, I shouldn't say still on their summer pattern,
They're just
but
getting off their summer pattern.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot easier to figure out what they're doing at what time. So if you can figure them out and you know what they're doing in the morning, why would you not go after them? If you have the means of getting in there without disturbing them, why wouldn't you do it? I just never understood the train of thought that it's like where are you getting an advantage for not going out in the woods? Other than, like I said, I don't because I feel like I'm disturbing stuff. But if I have the opportunity to do it, then I'm going to do it. I'm not going to forego time in the woods that's going to be helping me.
And another thing I've noticed, especially in October, is in October you'll get a lot of mornings that are 45 degrees, and then by the evening it's 75 degrees.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have not had, you might think something different. I have not had good luck hunting deer when it's 65, 70, 75 degrees.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when it's cold at night because they know I just got to lay low for a couple hours and then it's going to cool right off. I can go wander around.
So there's been some times in October, when I'm hunting the weekends where I've had very productive morning hunts when it's 40, 45 degrees, and by evening it's hot out.
Buns, it sucks.
And you're sweating.
You don't even want to be in the woods.
Yeah.
You're out there, but you're like you said, you're sweating.
I don't see a lot when it's that hot.
No, not typically.
So
it sounds like it kind of comes down to how you can access your property and how much time you have to hunt.
Yeah. Like anything, there's 100 different factors to throw into it.
So. You could go to the next podcast and, the guy has killed, 10 bucks in the evening in October and he's never killed one in the morning. So he's obviously going to have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But I guess what we're trying...
I'm that guy. I don't think I've ever killed a buck in the morning in October. I've killed a couple does in the morning, but...
So I think it really comes down to, just knowing the property you're hunting and understanding the way it works and what you can do with it. But at the end of the day, like Tom said first, that, don't cut your hunting opportunities in half just because. Yeah. It's got to be calculated.
Yeah, because it's quote unquote not a good time.
Yeah. But I guess while we're on the topics of, not a good time to be in the woods, what are your guys' thoughts on like what people call the October lull?
I think it's bullshit.
My words exactly. It's total
Same
bullshit.
thing. So
I think it's the dumbest thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a Midwest thing. Those guys have a different thought process on stuff.
I
and they
think it
see
just
different
comes
things.
with hunting your property smart, because we don't go right into the heart of our property October 1st. We're not getting in on the bedding and blowing the whole place up. We start and hunt the perimeter. We might be 150 yards from the road, where you're barely making a trail getting in, and you hunt there for a few weeks, and then as the rut gets closer and closer, we kind of hone in on those key spots where we know there's a lot of activity. We don't go in there day one and blow everything up.
Yeah.
So I think that's really helped us avoid that October lull.
I think the October lull is mainly people that have, one or two ladder stands on their property, or box blinds or hang-ons or whatever. They have one or two spots that they hunt, and they start hunting that one, October, or maybe if they're down south, it's in September, and they keep hunting that spot. And all of a sudden, as the patterns of the deer start to change, they don't move to adapt to it. So they're not seeing deer there. So they call it the lull. But then by November, when everything's going crazy, they start seeing deer again. So they think that it's the lull. Like I promise you, deer don't disappear for that point in October. I agree that, they probably don't move as much as they do in November.
And they change what they're doing. They don't move as much during that time from summer. They have their summer pattern and then their rut pattern and then what they're doing in between. But you just, like you said, you have to figure out what that is that they're doing, because I have this one piece that I hunt. It's almost worthless to hunt the first couple weeks of October, and it's worthless to hunt in the rut. I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen a legal buck but outside of like October 20th to the 30th. It's just, that's when that spot is hot, and you'll see really nice bucks. That's where I killed that big 10 that I got. I almost got a really big 9 there the following year. My dad killed a big buck there the year before I killed mine. It just in between the 20th and the 30th, the deer want to be right there, and it's hot as can be. And you will not go a night without seeing several bucks. Mm-hmm. But outside of that time, you're kind of wasting your time. So it's not that the deer aren't
moving at all.
Yeah,
it's just
they're
that
not moving
spot.
right there.
And you may, if you're on, say you've only got like a 15-acre piece that you're hunting, there may not be much action going on in October there.
Yeah, through no fault of your own. It's just a lack of property.
So, maybe what you need to do, if that's a pattern you've seen over the last couple of years, try and get permission on another piece of property and see if it's hot.
Find where that lull activity is gone.
Yeah, the other couple bucks that I've shot with my bow have all been in the evenings of October. I've never killed anything in November. Mm-hmm. So for me to say that, there's an October lull would be total BS, because I've only killed bucks in October.
Yeah, never observed the lull.
Yeah, I've killed bucks in rifle season, but when it comes to hunting with a bow, I've never killed anything past, and actually October 31st. I do have one Halloween buck, but I've never killed after Halloween.
Well, my buck last year was my first one was October 20th, which would be right during the lull.
Yeah. And I've just never observed that lull, because I follow the activity. Yeah, and I have a bunch of property that I can hunt, so I know how to hunt those pieces and follow where the activity is going through those different times. So I never see that lull, because I know where they're moving to throughout the weeks of the season.
Yeah. So I think it just boils down to just knowing the property you hunt, and if you don't have a ton of property, work on getting some free permission, lease, public ground, something, so you can keep hunting. If you're like the guy, like us, where you work 5 days a week or 6-7 days a week, depending on what you do, don't take a month of your season away just because the property you're on isn't hot. Try and find somewhere else to go hunt.
Yeah.
I don't think you're hurting yourself by, even if you get to a piece of public and you scout during the season, put your stand on your back and start scouting and see if you can't find some hot sign to hunt. For us, we hunt every opportunity we can. And if I was on a piece of property that I wasn't seeing anything, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm not going to just quit hunting because I've had a few days that have been slow.
Yeah, exactly. you definitely got to spend the time in the woods and figure out what's going on.
Can't kill them from the couch.
That's a fact.
That's true. That's coined by Catching Deers. We should probably throw that in there. That's not ours.
I don't think they coined that.
They put it on a shirt.
That's been a saying for
Long time.
long time.
Well, we got to be careful with the trademark.
Yeah.
Old Bud Fisher can reach out to us. I'm sure he listens.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
So
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
I love that. So next thing I wanted to bring up was bucks and how they use wind when it comes to traveling. There's a lot of debate on, bucks only walk with their, the wind in their face. Other guys may say that they walk, with the wind at their back. Me personally, from what I've seen, there's not any specific way it works. I think it's impossible for a deer to navigate through a farm that puts the wind in the perfect direction for them at all times. Mm-hmm. From the time they leave bedding to go to food, to go back from food, back to bedding, to be scent checking, to trailing does, to breeding does, there's no possible way that they can keep the wind in one direction on them the entire time. Mm-hmm. And I think once you understand that, that's how you can start using wind almost to your advantage. And one thing that Mike Perry had said to us a couple weeks ago when we had him on is finding those bends in the deer trails. Mm-hmm. And basically using, when a deer's coming down a trail, you can sit at that bend so there's that brief little window where the wind isn't in his favor.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to understand, is that you have to, I don't know, it's tough to explain without like a picture really. But
yeah. But I mean, like what you're saying is to use the wind to your advantage whenever possible. We've observed where deer will only access certain things on a certain wind, and it's because they're trying to put it in their favor. Like you said, they can't do it every single time. They can't always have the wind in their favor. So they go to places on certain winds where they know it's going to be in their favor.
But to get there...
Yeah, I'm not saying 100% of the time they have the wind in their favor just because they're on their feet.
Well, I guess...
But they like to, they like to put the wind in their favor as often as possible, but when they can't, they still are going to be moving.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is, like, say you've got a clover food plot, and you notice that, there's this one specific buck that only comes to that field when there's a west wind. Mm-hmm. Probably because he can smell everything coming into that field.
Yeah.
What you want to do is try and figure out how he's getting to the field and find, that kink in the armor, if you will, mm-hmm. on that access from where he's bedding to where he gets to the food plot. Figure out where on that property you can get a shot at him.
Yeah.
Whether thermals is something I'm just starting to learn about. I can't really speak on thermals too much because I don't know enough to talk about it. But from what I'm reading and everything, there's obviously like terrain change plays a huge factor in that. So maybe you can look into that if you know more about thermals. But Tom, what do you see?
Well, Nick, I don't know. I don't really. I pay attention to the wind. I think the wind's huge, but I don't know. I always just try and I don't know. I'm a very, I don't want to say.
You're instinctive.
Instinctive, yeah. I don't get all wrapped up into, oh, well, the wind's doing this, so the buck's gonna be moving this way, and he's gonna be bedding here because there's gonna be a shift in the wind at 2:00. Like, no, I don't get into that. I set myself up so I know where the deer are at. I know where they're trying to go, and I just make sure my wind's not blowing
right at them,
right at that direction.
So you take a very simple approach to it, and it works.
Yeah,
great for you.
Yeah, it definitely works. I don't know.
You just simplify it as
some
much as
people
possible.
might bash me for saying this, but I think some hunters try and make it sound more complicated than it really is.
I agree with that.
I can see that.
There's a lot of aspects of hunting that people try to make it seem like it's a lot harder than it is, which some things are hard, but for the most part, you can calm down a little bit.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I've observed bucks walk into the wind. I've observed bucks walking against the wind, walking across wind. I think, like what Nick said, whatever advantage that buck can have, he's going to use. Mm-hmm. But, sometimes there's not an ideal situation for him. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot on this topic.
No, I think it's fair for you to say that you don't put a whole lot of thought into it. And
other than your predominant wind blowing your scent
I know,
where you want your shot to be.
I used to put way more thought into it, and it's tough to say, like, getting stressed about it, but I was overthinking it way too much. Mm-hmm. And I'm the last 2 years I've really just dialed back on it because I don't want to, like, overthink things. Mm-hmm. I've hunted these properties long enough. I understand, like Tom said, I know where they're usually at. I know where they're usually trying to go. Mm-hmm. And I just try and find a wind or find a place on there that my wind isn't totally going to blow up my hunt.
And that's the same thing, like if you're hunting some public land, like I've done a fair bit out in Nebraska, and I don't know where the deer are at every time. I don't know where they're always trying to go, but I set myself up in spots that, like pinch points and stuff like that you can kind of predict using your past knowledge of other situations, and then just use the predominant wind to not have your scent in that spot.
Yeah, basically you don't want it blowing parallel with the pinch.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I guess a really easy example to explain. Like, basically, like, you don't know how every deer is going to use. Yeah, like a pinch point, especially during the rut. It doesn't matter what way the wind's going. There's probably going to be deer moving through it. Mm-hmm. A buck cannot help but chase does. Yeah, in that window when the does are hot, they're going to be chasing. That pinch point, I can almost guarantee you the does are going to be going through and the bucks are going to be going through. Doesn't matter what the wind's doing. Yeah. So what you want to be doing is try and set up to where your wind isn't blowing like parallel with the pinch point. Set your stand off of that wind basically so you can intercept them before they're smelling you.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely in my opinion, I agree with Tom, take the more simplified approach. Don't stress and not spend time in the woods because the wind isn't perfect. Yeah. And that helps to be mobile a lot too. You can kind of work a spot to move with the wind a little bit.
With a food plot, if you're mobile, you can work 360 degrees around that food plot and essentially like hunt it any day or on any wind,
just move a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I know we haven't had Keith on in a while. I don't even think we had him on to talk about his buck last year, did we?
I don't remember.
So last year he killed a really nice 10, like mid 140s 10, and basically he's got like a small little tract of property he can hunt where this deer was at. He had an encounter with it the year before, and basically the only wind he felt like he could get an opportunity at was an east wind, which if you hunt over on this side of the country, you understand that an east wind is pretty rare. Yeah.
But we had one, I think, 2 days ago.
But wild. But Keith he hunts very mobile, and he's able to just adjust. When that east wind came in, he was able to get in, and he shot that buck that night. Mm-hmm. That morning, sorry. That was an October buck, wasn't it?
I don't remember when it was.
Yeah, because it was before our week up at camp, and our week up at camp was the first week in November.
So he killed a buck in October morning?
Sure did.
That's whack.
Big one, too.
During the lull.
Wild. So in the, I think we pretty much covered that one. Tom, you...
Yeah.
Tom's ready to move on.
Yeah, Tom's done with that one.
So let's hit a lighter topic to, calm Tom's nerves a bit. Peeing from your tree stand.
Oh, you gotta love it.
I have no problem with it.
Neither do I.
If you're standing there all day long, you're gonna have to piss.
Yeah. What about some people like piss in a bottle and stuff like?
Then you got to carry a bottle of piss.
Backpack full of piss.
I don't do it. I'm saying some people do it.
Now, what do they say? Like, piss
I think it's
smells
15
like
minutes.
Something like you can identify where it came from for 15 minutes.
I think it's like 15
like
minutes.
ammonia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen deer come through right after I've pissed and just shove their nose in it. They don't.
My grandpa used to always say, if you're walking into the woods and you find a scrape, you piss in it.
Mm-hmm. I've done it before.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
Might even help.
Yeah.
Could. Yeah, I got no problems with that. I just so you
Try
have
not to shit from the stand though.
Nick killed his biggest buck right
Yeah.
after a good poop.
debatable. I got to be comfortable up there. You got a short fuse.
I don't think I've ever shit out of my. Actually,
That's a
I
total lie.
have done it. I have done it.
Yeah. You have a shirt to prove it.
Yep, I sure do.
I mean, it's one of them things. Like, especially if you're hunting November and you're out there all day, you're gonna hike all the way back to camp just to pee or poop. No,
shot.
You're not gonna do it. So I mean, like, your only two options, or you have three options when peeing in the stand. You can hold it, no fun. I don't know if you guys ever hold a pee before, but it sucks. So you're gonna be uncomfortable, and I guarantee you're gonna be fidgety.
Yeah, it's super easy to fidget when you gotta pee.
Yeah, or you can just pee out of your stand, or you can pee in a bottle, and then you have to carry a backpack full of piss. So
We don't drink piss.
So I don't see a problem with it. If you've had a negative experience, I'd love to hear about it.
Well, I'll tell you a little story.
Oh, I love story time with Tom.
Yeah, I shot this big buck up in New York last year, and it was actually a November morning. But I may have been out a little late the night before.
Bible study run late.
Yeah. Church group did run over.
Had to help some little old lady get her car started.
Yeah, you know the routine. So anyway, I woke up in the morning, and I was just not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Might have been a little bit hungover. And I knew, we're going to be in the woods late because it's November. So I'm going to need some coffee. So I got the percolator going. And I down, quite a few cups of coffee trying to get the energy up. So I get out to the stand in the morning, and I am having, like, coffee and Busch Light pisses left and right. I probably took, like, 6 pisses before I shot my buck. And I shot him at, like, 7 yards.
Yeah.
So you tell me if he cared.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
No.
Doesn't matter now.
No.
Yeah, that sheep is dead.
So I guess the next one I wanted to cover was, and I do believe we have differing opinions here.
I was going to say, it would have been nice if we picked a few things that we could debate about, because we all pretty much agree on everything so far. So.
I think this one is going to draw a little bit of debate. I think the reason we do agree a lot is because we hunt together.
Yeah.
And, like, we all, we share ideas and experiences, and it just, that's why I think a lot of them is the same. But I do believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this one is going to bring a little bit of debate. And it's shooting does before or after the rut.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to bring that much of a debate because here's my stance on it. I have no problem shooting does. Like, I think you should be shooting does, but I don't.
Yeah, Tom's only thing is he just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
He's not against it.
I'm not against it. I'm actually for it.
Yeah.
I think you should be keeping the buck to doe ratio. I just
don't want to help out everyone.
Do you have any school of thought on whether it hurts or helps to shoot before or after the rut?
The way I look at it is I would think, and this is just my brain, you would want to shoot them before the rut. Because if you shoot one post-rut, well, you could be shooting a doe that was just bred by the biggest buck on your farm.
I'm so glad you said that because I have a debate against it. So, okay, so let's take that doe that was bred by that big buck.
Yeah.
What is the difference in the end result if it's shot after it was bred or before it was bred?
Well, if it
that
was
buck's
before,
breed
it's going to breed
doe.
someone else.
Yeah, it's going to breed another one.
Okay, but how many bucks only breed one doe?
I mean, they breed a few.
They're going to breed as many does as they can.
Yeah.
Your dominant bucks are going to breed as many does
But
as
I'm
they
saying
can.
if you shoot a doe early archery season, you just
She's
open
for
up,
sure not pregnant.
Yeah, and you just open up another spot for another doe to move in.
But I feel like there's a ton of does already.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah. But if you shoot her in early archery season, she is 100% not carrying the offspring of a big breeder buck.
And if you shoot her after,
She could be
She could
carrying
be.
that offspring.
but she's 100% not going to birth that buck.
Yeah, but that buck is going to breed other does.
See, I like this. This is debate.
Instead of wasting that O on a doe that's about to get shot, she's already dead. He's going to go spend it on somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's going to get the same number of does. But
I think he's going to breed the same amount of does regardless. He's going to breed as many as he
exactly.
can.
So if he's going to breed the same number of does regardless, why would you shoot the one that's pregnant? Shoot her before she's pregnant. And he's still going to breed that same number of does. If he's going to breed 10 does, why would you take those 10 does and then 3 of us are sitting here, shoot 3 bred does? Now there's only 7 bred does. If he's going to
Are they
breed
rye
10,
or Italian?
if he's going to breed 10 does and we kill 3 before the rut, he's going to breed 10 does. Now you have 10 out of 10 bred does after the rut instead of 7 out of 10 after the rut.
I can see the school of thought. I can't say I'm sold 100%, but I definitely see.
And the other thing,
Well, if you shoot him after the rut,
No, I
he
like I
can't
said, I
breed another
I- yeah,
one
I
then
understand.
because the rut's over. They're not in
secondary
heat.
rut.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean I'm partially playing a little bit of devil's advocate for
Yeah.
the sake of,
and the other thing,
because like disclaimer, I prefer to shoot does before the rut.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there. I am trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate to keep
yeah.
the debate.
and come the rut, I don't
Yeah, a lot of
give
that.
what?
Continue.
You're an idiot. Yeah, I got it now. Once the rut is in full swing, I really don't care about shooting does early archery season. But
Really don't care.
yeah, when the rut's in full swing, I really couldn't care less.
That's where I'm at too.
Because I see a doe during the rut, I'm not thinking about shooting that doe. I'm thinking about what's 60 yards behind her.
Yeah, exactly.
going, bear, bear,
Yeah.
bear.
That's my thought process.
It would just be my luck. November 3rd, this nice doe comes out 20 yards. I shoot, pile driver right behind the front shoulder. She takes off, and as she running, I see frickin' rack and a white tail go running through the woods, and I'm
Yeah.
like, boy, do I have egg on my face.
Another reason I like to shoot does before the rut too is I treat them as a bit of a tune-up.
Yeah, I'm a big tune-up guy.
Yeah, my thing, you can shoot targets all you want. They do not get your heart beating like a whitetail does. I don't care if you have,
There's so many different situations you can be in the woods.
Exactly.
Where the target is just standing still. It's right out there. Nothing's about to happen. There's nothing
Usually
in
in
your
an
way.
open yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
The target's not watching you.
Yeah.
They're smelling you.
I mean, I agree that I probably get more excited with a big buck than I do a doe, but
I look at a doe as work.
But I mean, Tom, I've sat in the stand with you long enough. You shake when a doe comes through. You get excited.
Even though you for sure are not going to shoot her, you're still excited.
Tom's shaking. And the reason I like to shoot does early is because you get to experience the excitement, the adrenaline, the shakes, and power through it. Mm-hmm. Even though it might be a little bit easier than a buck, you're still excited. Your adrenaline, I guarantee, if you
Still
enjoy
letting an arrow
hunting,
fly on
yeah,
an animal.
your adrenaline's going to be flowing. And if it's not, you're probably, why are you hunting?
Yeah.
So I think if you shoot it early and then, later on in October, November, the big buck comes through, you've already done this once this year. Maybe
Been here
twice
before.
if you got a few doe tags.
Yeah.
Like you've been here before. What's that? I think it was a football movie. No celebrations in the end zone, like act like you've been here before.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of mentality of, okay, I've already done this year. I
Nerves
can
have been calmed.
Yeah, I can calm myself down a little bit more. You can focus on breathing through. As our buddy Blaine would say, you got to keep your head in the bucket. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of things. I think it just
Maybe visualize an old family friend of yours telling you to calm down in your head.
Yep, that works for me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do. I'm gonna
I
keep
think
that.
that's why he said it.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, you got to go through the shot process. My shot process, and a lot of people will probably say that it should be exactly the same from target practice to hunting. Mine's not. You don't know what's going to happen. I could be sitting, I could be standing. you know, you don't know what's going to happen when the shot opportunity comes. So
I don't even know what happened after the shot opportunity took place. Like I shoot and I'm like,
did I even look at my pins?
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I feel like that too. Like I shoot, I'm like, I don't remember seeing my sight. I don't remember, you know. It's
was there even an arrow? I don't
yeah,
even...
it's just muscle memory when you get locked in, and then you subconsciously see the pins.
And that I think is a good thing. You know,
for sure.
I think
you don't
if
want
you
to be
shoot
so
enough,
focused on your pins.
yeah, when you shoot enough, it does become second nature, and I think that's a good thing. But if you've done it a couple times or even once before that big buck gives you the opportunity, I think it can only help you.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I went a couple years without killing anything with my bow. I killed a buck 1 year, and then I think it was 2 years later I hadn't killed a buck or a doe with my bow. And I was sitting in the stand one night, and a real nice doe came out. It was early October, and I was starting to get a little excited. I was like, you know what, and I had not planned on shooting a doe that night, but my heart was pumping. I was ready to go. I was like, you know what, I haven't done this in a while. Same thing. I just wanted to get the practice, just remind myself I know how to do this. This is what it feels like. This is the process that you're going through in your mind. And, you know, I obviously center punched her. She didn't go 30 yards. So, but it's good to just get in that feeling, you know. It's
Call your buddies, drag it out, you
yeah,
know.
never hurts to go through the process.
No, because, I mean, if you think about it, I have an unnumbered amount of opportunities to kill a doe throughout the year.
Almost every night.
I get maybe one opportunity at a buck.
Yeah.
If you take, you know, a 5-year span of, you know, archery hunting, at most of the time you're only going to get 5 opportunities to kill a big buck in 5 years if you're only hunting, you know, one state. Does is 10 times that. So if the only time you ever shoot at a live animal is maybe once a year, I think you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You know, deer meat is delicious. Why not take a doe?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, practice up, fill the freezer, you know, and takes the edge off. You're not so like keen to smoke that buck that you maybe not wanting to shoot, but
you're like, he's decent. I want to put meat in the freezer. Like, no, you got a doe down.
I already got meat in the freezer, and you can focus on that big buck.
Yeah.
You know, Tom and I were just talking monster bucks before we got here. You know, it's obviously big bucks are awesome.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're a inches guy or not, big bucks are awesome.
Yeah.
So fill your freezer up with those and
fill your wall with inches.
Yeah, there you go. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, the next one I wanted to talk about was rifle hunting, and that's kind of like a new thing I've noticed.
Very new.
Rifle hunting is not new.
What I'm getting into.
A while.
I honestly don't know why. This is one we're all going to agree on because we're all rifle hunters too.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, and I personally, I think the root of it is social media. Social media, there's so much bad that comes with social media, and I think this is one of them. I see so many guys that become archery hunters, and you know they get their top hat and their eyeglass, and they look down at people that hunt with a rifle.
Yeah, I've noticed it a lot more recently, especially like you said with social media, but with the big boom of mobile hunting, I feel like that has amplified it even more.
But you can mobile hunt with a rifle, so like, I don't get it. Like,
yeah,
I do mobile hunt with a rifle a lot.
Well, one of the first things we were all given at 10 or 11, 12 years old was a climber.
Yeah,
like we were mobile hunting, if you like.
Yeah,
that's how we were taught to hunt. You know, like this big craze came along.
Yeah,
3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I would say within the last 5 years, it's really blown up to be a mobile hunter, mobile archery hunter.
Yeah.
And those guys that are die-hard, got to shave all the weight possible so I can do this with my mobile setup and my bow.
Your whitetail
those guys are
regiments
like,
for workouts.
You can go to hell if you ever pick up a rifle.
Yeah. I think all of us sitting here would say we prefer to archery hunt.
Oh, no doubt.
But
I would never choose rifle over
but
archery. But
it comes right back to the first thing Tom talked about. about, working as much as we do, why would you short your season?
Yeah.
I get, you could carry a bow and rifle, but why bring a knife to a gunfight?
Well, and where we're at in rifle season, it's a lot different because we have so many hunters. The deer act so different. They're a lot flightier during rifle season. They're usually on the move. They're not just relaxed. And
Yeah, that's true. The hunting pressure in Pennsylvania and New York is far more than anyone in the Midwest will ever experience unless they come out here.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I don't know how many, a lot of our rifle hunting is done literally walking through the timber. It's in real, most of our shots in the timber, you're really not that far out of bow range.
No, you're not.
You might go from 30 to 60.
Yeah.
But most of our timber hunting, I'm not shooting 100 yards in the woods.
No, you can't see that far in most
Yeah,
places.
especially if you're in the red brush. You're close quarters.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some people out there that don't rifle hunt. Like Cody doesn't rifle hunt. But he's not one of those people that's like...
I've never seen him shit on a rifle hunter.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't shit on rifle hunters. He just prefers archery, so that's what he does, and doesn't care to rifle hunt.
Yeah.
But there's a very large group of people that are
And I
mostly
think,
social media
I was
trolls.
going to say, I think social media amplifies.
Yeah.
If you took a poll of everyone that bought a hunting license in America, I guarantee you the majority would say, yeah, rifle hunt's fine.
Yeah.
But social media just amplifies the bad.
And I would
yeah,
say
those-
the majority probably rifle hunt only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because archery hunting is kind of a niche inside hunting. It's big for us, but I know
There's so many people that are like that first day style hunter, or they're only rifle
deer
hunters.
camp.
They're deer camp guys.
That's one thing I really
That's what I
hold.
love about
Yeah, that's what I was getting
rifle
into.
season.
Like one of my favorite aspects of rifle season. One,
Camaraderie, Tom.
Absolutely.
I feel I get to kick back. My mentality of hunting changes for rifle season. It's about going to deer camp. Before season starts, getting all your buddies together. You're playing cards, drinking, having a good time, telling hundreds of hunting stories, and talking about bucks that you might kill, bucks you killed in the past. Like it's just everything that comes with opening day.
I kind of have like a backwards view that I feel like it's probably going to be backwards from like a lot of people when it comes to passing bucks in archery versus rifle. Like a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'll shoot a smaller buck with my bow. Mm-hmm. But for me, like in archery season, I'm waiting for like the big boy. Like I want to shoot a big buck with my bow. Come gun season, if I haven't filled my buck tag yet, I'm like, all right, we're partying with the boys. Let's put a buck on the ground. I don't care what it is.
I'm the same way, Tom.
get it.
I've talked to a couple people at work. They're like, oh, they show me pictures. Like, would you shoot this buck? I'm like, not with my bow. Like, definitely not with my bow. Like, I wouldn't even give it a second look if I had my bow in my hand. But you put a rifle in my hand, he's in trouble. They're like, what? Like, it's just the way I want to shoot a big buck with my bow, but with my rifle, it's the same thing. It's more about the fun of it, because I'm never rifle hunting alone. I'm always with you guys or my dad.
Well, archery hunting is kind of a lonely sport.
Yeah.
You're by yourself.
You're not taking your girlfriend out for the most part, or going out with
I
people,
don't.
or
it's a lonely.
it's
Tom
you
and I.
in the tree.
I know Frank doesn't, unless we're up at the headquarters. Frank doesn't hunt directly with Tom and I. Tom and I hunt the same property, but last year was the first time in almost 10 years we sat together. In an archery situation.
Tom and I did it a couple times a few years ago.
Yeah,
but
way back before the podcast.
Back before tigers could smoke.
Yeah.
Back when tigers used to smoke. Is what
But it's just, like you said, rifle season, all your buddies are together, and I don't know, maybe...
It's more of a team sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially, especially at the headquarters, if somebody shoots a buck, nobody forces it, but everybody quits hunting.
Yeah. Somebody wants to
Somebody
hunt.
shoots a buck, everybody's down, we're going in, we're, whether we're tracking, dragging, gutting, it doesn't matter. We're getting everybody together.
And we're going to crack a beer and have
we're
a good
partying,
time.
tenderloins and heart, hitting the grill right away.
Yeah.
That's what I love about rifle season.
I wonder if like two people will ever get a buck on the same day up at the cabin.
That'd be whack.
Because it seems like when one person gets a buck, everyone else is done.
Yeah.
It
No
would
one
have to
hunts
happen
anymore.
at the same time.
Yeah. Or like a morning, evening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one year, Trevor killed a buck at night. I killed a doe in the morning.
Yeah.
And then Trevor and I went and sat together, and our guns never even got loaded. Like, we just hung out and just chilled. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think the root of this whole debate was people not liking rifle hunting, and I just like why would you pass up on all that stuff?
You're missing out on so
Yeah.
much. And
I love the tradition of rifle hunting.
maybe what it is they don't have that friend group to do it with.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that's anti-rifle hunting, unless it's for safety concerns, which I can't argue with that.
Yeah. That's a legitimate concern.
If that's not why you hate rifle hunting, I suggest getting a group of buddies together. You know, I don't care if your deer
Just
camp
take
is
the
in a
pressure
hotel or, you know, at someone's house. Get everybody together the night before, hang out, have a good time, all head out to the woods together and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Be safe,
Archery is the
but have
serious
fun with it.
time. You know, you got your game face on in archery season. Come rifle,
Have
just
fun.
have a good time.
Yeah,
Have
smoke
fun.
a spike.
Can't in PA, but
Yeah, New York though.
yeah.
Once a
You've done
spike,
it.
always a spike. That's what my motto switches to in rifle season. No, my standards, they change day to day, really, if you think about it. Obviously, they're a lot stricter in archery season, but
Yeah.
once rifle comes along, you know,
It's all about the hunt.
yeah. And I guarantee whether it's, you know, a spike or a 200 incher, you're going to be partying at camp regardless.
Oh yeah.
You know, it might just be a little sweeter if it's bigger, but I guarantee that, you know,
You're gonna have a great time.
Party's going to be had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just enjoy it. I mean, it's like I think I've circled to this once already, but just why cut your season short?
Yeah.
You know, go out there and enjoy more time in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I guess that leads into our last topic I wanted to bring up, which I think is another social media heightened discussion, and it's the public versus private. You've got really the one side is public or die, and the other side is I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
The private people,
they
they
don't-
have access to private. They're like, yeah, I'll hunt public, but I don't.
But why?
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, when they're like going out of state or whatever, they're like, yeah, you know, we'll find some public and do whatever. But the people that are like diehard public guys are like, I can't believe you're hunting private land right now.
yeah, it's back to the top hat and eyeglass. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. They think they're better. One thing we hit on before we actually started, you know, recording is a lot of people will argue that, you know, public is way harder than private. And I don't think that public is harder than private. I just think it's a different grind.
Yeah.
It's a different approach. Yeah, I may not have to scout as hard because
You know
I've
the
already
property.
I've already done it. You
Yeah.
know, over the course. And most guys that are hunting public, they go back to the same piece anyways.
Yeah. So,
it's
they've
this-
scouted it for years
yeah, you have
and years
to
and years.
you have to worry about other human intrusion. But if you think about it, if I got an 80-acre piece and there's 4 guys on it versus, you know, 14,000 acres down in Allegheny and there's, you know, hundreds, the pressure's the same. Mm-hmm. Like, but
The way I look
ahead.
at it is like down in the Allegheny, like you said, there's 14,000.
There's
a lot
way more than
There-
that, but I'm
just
saying there's
you,
one
you
tract.
find this one tract of 14,000 acres. You can go wherever you want in that 14,000 acres. Mm-hmm. Most people that are hunting public, or that are hunting private, they're hunting a 30, 40, 50 acre parcel. Mm-hmm. So you have to figure out what you can do to keep those deer on such a small
30
tract
acres,
of land versus
which is next to impossible without a fence. You can do
Yeah.
what you can do what you can to have them frequent the property, but it's nothing for deer to cover 50 acres in a morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah. Like, well, we had an example up at camp a couple years ago where John was hunting probably 400 yards from Nick, who was hunting probably a half a mile from Ed. And John texted Nick, hey, big buck coming your way. And within a minute,
I was reading the text as it was coming by.
yeah,
Out of range, but it was
You saw it. Yeah.
yeah. And then not long after,
Ed texted and said, big buck just came right by me.
yeah.
And it cleared a mile and a half within
A few
10-minute
minutes, yeah.
period, if that. So
Yeah, when they want to go somewhere, they're gonna go. And like I'm guessing what your point was, is you got that 14,000 acres. That deer is gonna be. You have a lot easier chance of finding that deer on that 14,000 acres that you can access, and you can go anywhere in
on
there
that
to get
14,000
'em.
acres, yeah. If you have 50 acres, if you're in the middle, you're like, well, I can go 200 yards this way, I can go 200 yards that way,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of out of room.
Mm-hmm.
You have 14,000 acres, you can go
A mile and a mile.
a long ways to find a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different type of difficult.
Yeah, they both come with their own challenges for sure.
Yeah.
And with public land, a lot of times you're hunting heavy wooded area.
Mm-hmm.
With private, you do have the luxury of ag.
Putting in your own
Yeah,
food
but-
plots. And,
Which
You may be
becomes more effort
taking
and
a lot
work.
of time on the public to scout out, good spots to hunt. But on private, we're taking a lot of time to make good spots to hunt.
yeah.
And if you have a 50-acre tract of land, well, your neighbor that has property bordering yours might be doing the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's also trying to make the deer stay on his 50 acres. So I couldn't count the hours I spent rototilling over the summer trying to make
the fuel we spend.
trying to make our piece the most desirable, to try and keep them on our little hunk of land in the middle of 14,000 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just a different kind of hard, and I don't see why people shit
There's
on
the
one
argument.
or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm all for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've hunted public land many of times.
Usually out of state for me.
Yeah,
like when it
I
comes to
don't-
deer hunting.
Yeah.
Tom and I used to do a ton of public hunting when it came to raccoon hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to deer hunting, I have access to private, and I enjoy the challenge of making a desirable piece, like planting the food plots and, hinge cuts and all that different stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm better than the guy that's on public.
Yeah.
There's giants that get killed on public.
Yeah.
There's bigger bucks that are killed on public in PA than I've ever had on camera on my piece of private.
Yeah.
So
And you can get it done in both spots.
yeah.
It's not like one has the advantage over the other.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of this, I think social media amplifies it. It's easy to have an opinion on social media because you're sitting behind a screen, and you can say something with no weight behind it, and
What are they going to do?
yeah, exactly. Might put a bad meme in there or something, make you mad. But yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the different.
And don't take any of what we said too seriously. It's all lighthearted stuff. We're just having fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
trying to say our way's the only way.
Yeah, and we're not trying to shit on you if you have a belief that we don't agree with.
No, I mean, you put it in the comments, DM us. I love talking anything deer related.
Yeah, the way I look at it is I have my way that I like to go about deer hunting, and I know a lot of people probably aren't going to agree with how I get it done. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that do it differently, but I'm not going to talk shit on how you do it.
Well,
as
even-
long as you're getting out there and deer hunting.
There's differences in how I hunt versus how Tom hunts.
Yeah.
And differences on how Frank approaches it. All three of us can get it done a little bit different, and
Some get it done more often than others.
yeah, that's true.
Meaning me and Tom.
Yeah. Hey, happens. I got turkey hunting figured out though.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point in time, I don't even really care about turkeys. It's dangerously
on
close to deer season. Tom and I were spraying before we got here.
Which
Mother-
was a little greasy.
Yeah, Mother Nature held out for us. So Tom had been watching weather. This is just a little tidbit for the end of the podcast of the struggles of private land deer hunting. So Tom's been watching the weather all day. We've got ragweed taking over one of our food plots.
I wouldn't say taken over, but
If we don't do
doing well.
if we don't do something about it,
deer eat ragweed though.
cool. It makes
I
it
just
look,
don't
makes
want
the
it in my
food
food
makes the food plot look like shit.
He said cool.
It's kind of like a lawn in a subdivision. That's what I look at my food plots. I want them to look nice.
Yeah.
You got to keep up with the Joneses when you're planting food plots. That's how I am. I hate weeds in my food plot.
Yeah, I don't think the deer give a shit, but I do.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we got ragweed coming up real hard in the one food plot, and Tom and I, we had to do something about it. Tom been watching the weather all day. We scheduled the podcast late tonight so we could get it sprayed. On our way out to the farm, Tom and I are looking at the sky, and it's like, the radar is showing no rain, but the sky
The hourly forecast says 0% chance, but that sky looks
like 100% chance. And we get almost to the farm. I check the weather again, and now there's a 70% chance. I'm like, oof. And then we turn onto the road of the farm, crack of thunder. I'm like,
This is great.
this is getting better. And then like the 60% chance jumps to an 80% chance to it's raining. We're like, damn.
Shit.
So Tom and I are like, I guess, let's just putz around the farm here. Let's get, everything ready, and we'll come back and do this. And then, Tom sees a little break in the sky, and he's like, hey, why don't you check the radar, see what's coming? And so I checked the radar, and
we need an hour of clear, and it hasn't started to rain yet.
It did sprinkle a bit.
Sprinkle, yeah, but not enough to do anything.
Not even get the grass wet.
Yeah. So I checked the radar, and I'm like, Tom, I don't know. There's two towns. I don't want to give too much away, but there's two towns, that our property sits between. So I'm watching the radar on those two dots, and I'm like, Tom, it's close. It might hit us, it might not. We're right on the line.
Do you want to waste all this spray?
Well, that's just it. We're like, it's expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Do we want to waste it?
$45 a pint.
That's decent stuff.
So we're sitting there, and I think at one point we decided no. And then we're looking, and Tom sees a break in the clouds, and he's like, I think we can do it. So we mix up the batch. That's
Hit the kitchen, mix a batch.
Anyway, so we do that, and so we had not 1 second after we pull out of the driveway, drip drop, drip drop. Tom stops, and I thought he was going to turn around, and I was like, well, we might as well go and just see what the food plot looks like.
I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not going to spray, but I just want to at least assess the situation and see how many days I have to spray before this ragweed turns to seed.
Mm-hmm. So we get around to the other side of the block, and it clears up. There's no more rain. So now we're back on, I think we're going to spray. So we head down, and we get into the farm, get down to the food plot, and it's not raining. We shut the mule off, get ready, get the sprayer hooked up, and it starts raining. We're like... So Tom and I jump back in.
It's not like raining. It's just like barely
dropping on the windshield. Like, okay, it might start raining.
Yeah.
So Tom and I take a little walk to assess the ragweed situation, and then it starts getting to it was raining.
It didn't rain a drop here.
Tom, he'll back me up
for
here.
about 5 seconds.
But we didn't know that it was only going to be that long. So Tom and I literally start weeding the food plot. Tom and I are just starting to yank all the big ones and just do what we can. We're like, you know what, screw it, we can't spray. Let's just pull some big ones. Make us feel like we did something today.
Yeah.
And we do that, and now I'm just starting to get shirts getting damp. I'm like, okay, let's head back to the mule. Turn around, we start heading back to the farm, and doesn't it stop raining? We're like,
do we do it?
Tom's like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. So turn around, sprayed it, and we made it an hour. We didn't get rain, and all set. So Mother Nature held up for us. Maybe we should start a segment at the end of every podcast of private land struggles.
Private land struggles. I like it.
Probably won't stick.
Probably not. We can bring it back once in a while.
Yeah. So I guess that wraps this up. Deer season's rapidly approaching.
Is it in anywhere yet? Probably not.
No, it's usually September. I don't think there's any August seasons.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know Kentucky, Tennessee, South Dakota, South Carolina.
I know there's some
start
states you can
early.
get some where you have a great chance at a velvet buck.
Yeah, those states that I
Kansas,
just
Kentucky.
said. Yeah, but I don't think anything opens in August. I think they're all September.
Yeah, it's usually I thought it was September 1st or 15th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I mean, it's
coming.
It's going to be here before you know it. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. Deer hunting that's what we live for, really. Our whole year is tied to this couple months.
Yeah.
And if you're not into deer hunting, give it a shot. It's great. That's my sales pitch. Tom's our salesman. He would be better, but he's gone now.
Yeah, he went to take a squeege.
So I guess, if deer hunting is not your thing, sorry. But whatever it is, just make sure you're still getting outside.